Hey guys, good evening, good evening, good evening. I put a new little compilation together there based on just footage that I've been collecting. So I got a little bit from the BBC, a little bit from the Mirror, a little bit from Sky. So I thought that'd be a good opening for tonight. So we're going to be talking about Nicola Bulley again. I decided to do this a little bit later tonight because there was a documentary on British TV about Nicola Bulley. I thought it was only an hour, but I had to slip this live stream back 5 minutes. I wonder whether anybody noticed, because I thought it was an hour, but it wasn't. It was actually an hour and 15 minutes. But I don't normally watch TV, and people complain about ads on YouTube. But oh my word, how many ads! It was insane. And it's not like you can even like skip them either. Anyway, here we are. So I don't know how many of you have been able to watch the documentary. It was on Channel 5. I don't know whether people from other countries can watch British TV. I've no idea. It's online. I had to look it up and register. But it is free. You just have to put your email address in. But it's just Channel 5 UK. So if you watched it, what did you think about it? And I'm going to give a quick kind of rundown. I did try to take some screenshots. I obviously can't show the program because that will breach about 1 million copyright rules. But I did try to take some screenshots as the program was going, and and it doesn't even allow a screenshot. It's insane. It like just shows up as like a black screen. So I don't know what these companies do to stop that happening, but anyway, yeah, that's a bit odd. Like I said, I don't normally watch TV. Oh dear. Yeah, TV ads are awful, aren't they? Awful. Just awful. Anyway, so I'm going to do a rundown of that. And also, I just want to kind of share the latest update from Lancashire Police, but I'll do that. I'll do that at the end. Lisa, at what point can missing 411 be mentioned? You can mention it anytime you like. I think missing 411 cases, there is normally an explanation for them, isn't there? Holly, hello, Bexy. Aussie TV. Yeah, he does. David Polides. Is that the right way to say it? Polides. He does have a YouTube channel. Jackie. Sandra. Sherry. Sherry's missing it. You can catch it on the replay. Either the show or this. I don't know what you're talking about, but Sarah Jane. I know, it's so sad. So sad. S. Who else have we got? Danielle. Rags to Riches. Wow, I didn't know that. A few years ago, one of the Kennedy wives went missing in water with her son. They have only found the son. No sign of the wife in all this time. There's so many people who go missing in water who the water never lets them be seen again. The water just takes them. Sarah. Snore commenter. Oh dear. Well, I'm going to try and keep the snark down. I don't know how well I'll manage that. I guess it depends. I guess it depends how many let's say silly comments I get. I mean, look, you're very welcome to, share a different opinion than me. You're very, very welcome to share a different opinion than me. It's good. It's good. It generates discussion, right? I don't want to sit in a chat full of people who are just nodding and agreeing, just for the sake of nodding and agreeing. Voice your opinion. However, it has to be respectful, and you have to remember that if you can't back that up with anything, we've got virtually nothing in this case anyway. But if you are coming along with a suggestion that cannot possibly have happened, it's not even based on logic, never mind evidence, because none of us has any evidence really. But if you can't back it up with logic, then you're going to get laughed at. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, maybe snowflakes needn't watch. I don't know what to say. Sarah, hello from down under. Oh, it's a good time for you. It's like, at least it's daytime for you. Amanda, Alexandra, Joe, Rambling Rome. We've got a few people in now. Karma, Sharon, Caroline, We Scottish More, Alyssa. All right, quite a few people coming in now. So I'm going to stop with the roll call, because we've got a few people coming in. No, there's been a Channel 5 documentary on Nicola Bulley tonight. It's just finished at 10:15. So that's why I've come on a little bit later than I would normally do. So that's, I just want to talk that through. If you saw it, what did you think of it? If you didn't see it, I'm going to give kind of a quick synopsis of it. Most of it was an interview with Paul, Nicola's partner, and he gave a really interesting rundown of that day from his perspective. So I thought that was really useful. So I want to talk about that mainly, because I think that adds a little bit of context to the timeline that we've got so far. Yeah, but you've got to think about it. Paul doesn't want to imagine her in the river. If I was in his position, or any of her family or friends, I wouldn't want to think she was in the river, and I would fight against that suggestion, simply because if she's in the river, she's dead. Whereas if she's walked off of her own volition, and Paul said absolutely no way would she walk away from her girls voluntarily. So he's also put the line under that as well. And I think he's right to. I don't think she's walked away from her family. I don't think she's walked away from Willow. Willow's the big sticking point for me, and she always will be. She will always be the big sticking point for me. So when the interviewer, whose name escapes me, said, "What do you think's happened?" If you think, he didn't answer. He didn't answer because there's no. I mean, he did answer, but he didn't give a, I think she's been abducted, or I think, he didn't give a theory. And there's no outcome, is there? There's no outcome that's happy for Paul at all. But if she's been abducted, then at least there's the possibility that she's alive. If she walked away voluntarily, then she's definitely alive. But Paul has said no, that in his mind, that cannot have happened. And I tend to believe him on that, because he knows her better than everyone. But I would not want to, as a family member, I would not want to go down any route that meant she was dead. And I'd want to keep hoping. And he did say that he's a positive person. So he's going to continue to believe that she's alive, despite all the odds. But after 2 weeks, it's an incredibly slim possibility that she has been abducted and she's still alive. There's a very slim possibility that she's been abducted full stop, given the location, given the inaccessibility of that place. But but we can talk about that. Paul said, what have I missed? Whoa, Paul said that. What have I missed? I did flick down a few things. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, he did. He said he doesn't believe she's in the river. But Paul wasn't there. And like I said, I wouldn't want to think that either. I really wouldn't. Thank you. I get a special dispensation. I actually wasn't late. I didn't leave you hanging. I just changed the time discreetly. So I actually turned out not to be late. Dana, thank you for the $4. Thank you so much. Thank you. Adverts every 50 minutes. I know, but it's not that either. It's the amount of them. Well, at least on YouTube, like on a 10-minute video, you might get one ad break in the middle, right? But you get 2 ads maximum, and you can skip them if you want. If I'm enjoying the video, I play them. Just to give the creator a few pennies. But mind you, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't even get ads. I have to. Well, on this account, Michelle Walks, I do get ads. Whereas if I'm logged on Michelle After Dark, I don't get ads because I have YouTube Premium on that. I don't have a TV license. I've got a TV license because technically we do have a TV. My son has a TV in his room, but it's not hooked up to any. It's like you can't watch telly on it. Like it's his PlayStation TV. But if those stupid inspectors came round, like if you've even got a TV in your house, you've got to get a license. So I pay whatever it is, 100 quid, 140 quid, is it? Whatever it is every year. I know, Rona. Thank you for the $4.99. I know, losing sleep over Nicola. I know. I can't stop thinking about her. Honestly, I can't imagine. I do get very invested in cases. I do get very invested in cases. But with this one just being 25 miles down the road, and having been to the site, it gives it a massively different perspective for me. Massively different perspective. Can you pause the pics and then use a snapping tool? I don't know. I just tried to take a screenshot like I would on YouTube. Pallades. There we go. We got it. I'm way down on the chat here. It is. If you told me her name, I might remember, but no, not just by that description. The girl who walked into the sea a few years ago. The sea is horrible. If you fall in the sea, yeah, snark it up. I will. No, other side of the country. Ipswich is on the east of England and down in the south, whereas I'm in the west and up in the north. I'm about, 100 miles from the Scottish border, but on the west. So we're opposite ends of the country, really. Don't go ignoring you. I'll try not to, stupid vegan world. Oh, you've changed your name. Unless you're a different person, because a stupid vegan So if you're Stupid Vegan World now, and I'm sure you're not stupid, and I'm sure I've said that to you before anyway. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, good. Not everybody does. Not everybody does. Sass. Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows with little snowflakes around their head. Hi, Trixie Star. Snowflakes. You gotta love them. You gotta love them. Anyway. Oh, I can't get British TV unless it's BBC News. Not even like Channel 5. Can you not? Get a VPN. Get a VPN. And then you can tune it into UK. And then you can just look up Channel 5 online. And then you can watch it. There you go. I've solved your problem. Get a VPN. They're dead cheap and they're dead good. Then you can watch it. And no, I'm not sponsored by any VPN company before anybody starts. I know. And so they should. Absolutely so they should. It's only been 2 weeks. Yeah, I've excluded. I don't think she's taken her own life. And I don't think she's walked away voluntarily. Those are the two that I've, even really early on in this case, I excluded. I don't know why. I just thought she's not, and left Willow there. Willow was always my sticking point. Why would she leave Willow there? More importantly, why would Willow stay there? And I'm really sad that Paul didn't address that in the interview. No one is addressing that. No one is addressing that. Not one person. I think I've seen, I'm going to go down to the bottom of the chat now. So if you've asked a question or you've got something that you want me to see, then please do put it in again, because I'm like all the way right up the beginning of the chat. So I want to start kind of going through the kind of my thoughts on the documentary. I don't think so. No, I don't. I really don't think so, because because of the location. That, you know, Sherry Papini set it up so it looked like she'd been abducted. Whereas this, you've just got a phone and a dog. And if you were going to stage a disappearance that made it look like you'd been abducted, you'd do something else. You'd do it in a way that was more convincing, so that it would lead everybody to believe that you've been abducted. Now, are we saying that she's led everybody to believe that she's drowned? Because that's one theory, that the phone was left there as a decoy. That's what Peter from SGI has said. I'm going to talk about the red van. I've got my map up ready. I'm going to talk about that. Don't worry. I've seen that floating around. So I want to address that. But yeah, the red van. Chris Watt's case had the mysterious red car that came out of nowhere. You know, it couldn't possibly be in the location. You know, it was like literally coming out from a little flower bed or whatever it was. What it actually was Chris's back brake lights shining onto Betty's silver car as she left for the gym. In the Summer Wells case, we've got the red or maroon Toyota Tacoma, which may or may not be relevant to anything at all, because there's 5 gazillion billion red Toyota Tacomas in Tennessee by the sounds of things. Everybody's got one. In this case now, we've got the tatty red van. So, oh dear. Never buy a red car of any variety, whether it's a van, a truck. Never buy one, because you are going to be a suspect. You're going to be a suspect sooner or later of the true crime community. You're going to be a suspect. But yeah, we'll talk about the red van. Seriously, we'll talk about it. It's nothing, but let's talk about it. If the red van's relevant, what I'm telling you is that it's the most elaborate abduction I have ever seen in my entire life. But anyway, so let's start. So some of the things that I thought were most interesting about the program. So they had a long interview with Paul that they kind of put into sections. And Emma White, the friend, she also had a little segment. Peter from SGI was on there. Fortunately, he only said about like 2 sentences, so that's fine. And then there was some obnoxious guy whose name escapes me, who was just basically slagging off the police and not saying anything useful whatsoever, saying that the police need to update further. The police have been updating daily. I don't know where he's been living, obviously under some kind of rock where they can sneak back under there. And I normally tell people when they sneak back under rocks to die, but I'm not going to say he's going to die. Just go back under your rock and live quietly ever after. Okay, and then there was a woman on who was an ex-police superintendent. She was very good. I liked her. She was very well measured. She explained what the police would be doing behind the scenes. I liked her. Unfortunately, the other two on the panel, I could have happily punched them in the face, shot them or whatever. But otherwise, you know, they can escape under their rock. But she was very good. I liked her. So mainly, I think it was Paul's interview that people are going to be talking about. And I've purposefully not looked on Twitter. Snark is out. No. That's not Snark. I've not even got started yet. Not got started yet. The behaviour panel said Paul is not lying. Where was that? Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. But they did a 2-minute interview. Like, it was like literally a 2-minute interview that they analysed, wasn't it? And he had a hat on. So maybe they'll come back and do another one now that they've got this interview. But how they're going to play it, I don't know. But anyway, do Channel 5 have a YouTube channel? Maybe they'll put clips on YouTube. If they do, then obviously we'll be able to share them then. I don't know. I don't even know if Channel 5 do have a YouTube channel. I'd even forgotten Channel 5 was a thing. But yeah, I purposefully didn't look on Twitter so that I could, you know, stay sane. Mark Williams Thomas, thank you. There you go. Mark Williams Thomas, he was the obnoxious one, yeah. There is no traveller community. There is no traveller community in St. Michael's. I'm serious. There's no traveller community. Whoever's spreading this thing that there's a gypsy camp or a traveller camp in St. Michael's, you're insane. You're crazy. Look, you're crazy. St. Michael's is a tiny village with, like, I don't know how many people even live there. I'm going to have to look it up. Please hold. I bet it's about 500 people. St. Michael's Mount. No, that's in Cornwall. Right. Why does Google try to give you suggestions that are wrong? All right, here we go. St. Michael's on Wire is a village on the fire, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so in 2001, it had a population of 604. Well, what does it have now? That was 20 years ago. Give me a For later counts, see the civil parish. No, I'm not going to see the civil parish. So it had 604 people in 2001. So I wouldn't say there's many more than that now. Right, it's tiny. It's tiny. Right, I'll show you how tiny it is. Right, hold on. Okay, so I mean, I don't actually know where it starts, but let's say it starts here because there's a church. There's a few houses there, and then that's where the river walk starts, and then there's a few houses there, a few houses there. That's it. That's it. That's St. Michael's. And it's just surrounded by countryside. There's like literally nothing there. If there was a traveller camp, right? I mean, seriously, you know, it smells like Tory. And I would imagine that if travellers turned up, it wouldn't be very long before they got ousted. Let's put it that way. It is very much a village where everybody knows everyone. And that's one of the things that Paul said in this interview. He said they've walked. They live about 10 minutes drive away, but their kids go to school in St. Michael's. They live in Inskip, which is just down the road here, just about down here. Wherever, if this stupid thing will update. But anyway, there was a car boot sale there. Oh, there's an airfield there. She's been she's got a secret pilot license, and she's flown away. That's why they can't find her, because she's flown away in this disused airstrip. It's actually not disused. It's used for like private planes and stuff. So, you know, there's that. Right. I've talked about this. I've talked about this millions of times now, but we'll talk about it again. We'll talk about it again. Right. So if you saw my footage that I took when I was there on Monday, and if you saw my footage, and I've got 4 videos now with the footage on, right? So I did a live stream while I was there. I did another live stream when I got home to show you a more complete version of the footage. Then I did a video with an edited version of the footage that was easier to sit through for people who don't like live streams. And then I did another video with a little bit more of the footage, like the unedited version, but that was just in the upper field, so that didn't include the farm. So if you saw any of the 3 videos where I was near the weir, then you will have seen the farm and you will have seen the caravans. Cassie did almost knock me in. If I was closer to the edge, she would have knocked me in. Yeah, this doesn't have membership. This is, this is Michelle Walks. So MichelleAfterDark has memberships, but Michelle Walks doesn't, because I can't justify asking people to pay twice. And I don't do enough content for members on MichelleAfterDark as it is. I need to do more content for members over there. So to expect me to do 2 lots of content for 2 lots of members, I don't think it's fair on me, and it's definitely not fair on you. But anyway, So yeah, that was one of the things that Paul said, was that they've done this walk like so often, everybody knows everybody else. And if there's a new face, they know about it. And it did remind me when he said that. It reminded me of Geordie Sue Brown. I was like, oh no, maybe Geordie Sue could go and live there. Right? If Geordie Sue ever wants to, up sticks and move to England, she can move to St. Michael's on Wire, because she'd fit right in. She'd be like, she'd be curtain twitching and all sorts, So Paul said that if there's a new face out there, they all know about it. So if there's cars like parked up that they don't recognize, they know about it. And I think this is why this red van has stuck in people's minds. Does the UK have trailer parks? No, not really. I mean, no, I mean, mobile homes, people buy mobile homes or static caravans, so caravans that just stay there and don't have wheels. People buy them as holiday homes, and you could buy like a mobile home, a holiday camp that you really like, and then you can go there whenever you want. But these kind of caravan parks and holiday camps, you can't live there as your permanent address. I think they'd I think they'd get rid of her pretty quick. Well, yeah, these little villages are. They're nosy. I mean, it's the same where I live. I mean, my village, no, it's honestly, it's not a village anymore, because there's been that many new housing developments. It's a village in name only. Like, it's probably twice as big as it was 15 years ago even. So there's all sorts of new people moving in. But yeah, when I was a kid, like, everybody knew everybody else. And certainly, around where I live now, I live in my grandparents' house that when they were alive, they lived in. And we knew everybody. And I still, like, I can go down the road and say Margaret's house. And sometimes I'll say them who live at Margaret's house, and that's Margaret's been dead for years. And then I'll say Alice Lee's house. Well, Alice Lee's been dead for years, and her surname wasn't even Lee, but it's just what my nan called her. Jimmy's house. And it's like, no, it's not anymore. I don't even know the name of the people who live in Jimmy's house or who live in Alice's house. But it's just, everybody knew everybody else. You could send your kid out to go and play, or your dog to go out and play, because people used to just let the dogs out to go and play. My sister used to go and call for Susie, the Scottie. They used to let her go out and play. And you knew they'd be safe. But times have changed. But in little villages like St. Michael's, if there was anything untoward that went on that day, somebody would have seen. And that's another reason why I believe she wasn't abducted, is that somebody would have seen. That if she'd been followed, somebody would have seen. Curtain twitchers. I mean, I'm not even a curtain twitcher. I'll literally go and stand outside. If there's anything going down, I'll literally go and stand outside, and I'm not ashamed. I won't even pretend I'm doing something. I'll just go and watch. But yeah, my nan used to curtain twitch. She used to be terrible. Terrible. It's incredibly slim. If she was abducted, it would be the most elaborate abduction I have ever heard of in my entire life. But before we get into the caravans and the red van, let me just kind of give you a rundown of what Paul said about the day. Binocular. Now, that would be something my son would do. that would be my son, like hanging out the window with binoculars. No, I'm just straight out there. Anyway, right. So Paul said the normal routine in the mornings when it was school, and it was a school day, Friday. In the UK, school generally starts at 9 a.m., like 5 to 9, something like that. So they lived like a 10-minute drive away from St. Michael's. So at 8:26, and the Lancashire Constabulary have given us a timeline for this, that at 8:26, the CCTV at the house, so I presume like a ring doorbell or something, saw her leaving with Willow in the back of the car and with what she was wearing. So we've all seen those pictures. And Paul said that generally speaking, one or the other of them would take the kids to school, and then whoever took the kids to school would walk Willow, because the walk, the lovely walk that I went on, that I took you on the other day, that was their usual walk. Well, that's just a very short walk away from the school. It's only like 2 or 3 minutes away from the school. So it was Nicola's turn to do the school run and then take Willow out. So he came downstairs and the kids were already having their breakfast and everything was fine. There was nothing strange going on. He said the only strange thing was that the kids were there having their breakfast. You know, normally, you know what it's like if you've had kids yourself, a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. You know, it's usual like carnage, isn't it, when they're getting ready for school? But no, they were just sitting there having their breakfast. He came downstairs and supervising breakfast. Nicola went upstairs to get ready. And then we've seen her on CCTV getting Willow in the car, and she set off. So we know from the Lancashire Police timeline that I'll just get it up actually. But I'm focusing on what Paul said rather than what Lancashire Police have said, but this will just help us navigate that a little bit better. So at 8:40, Nicola was at school. So, like I said, it's about 10 minutes. And she had a brief conversation with another parent. And what they would do is leave the car at the school. So, you know, it's parked up safely. And it's literally 2 to 3 minutes walk from the school to the beginning of the river path, which is this. So it's exactly the walk that I did the other day. So let me just find it. Where are we? Down here. Okay. That's allotment lane. There we go. So this is the beginning of the river path. So that's the beginning of the river path there. The Iron Bridge. And the school is literally just up here. So I'm not going to go to the school, but it's just down there, right? So it's literally walking down this path here. So you're going from that corner, past these few houses, past the church, over the bridge, and it's right there. It's right there. And then that walk is only short. It's less than a mile from here right to the bottom of the upper field, less than a mile. I'd say probably not much more than half a mile. I think when I checked my activity on my phone, I'd done a shade over a mile, I think, by the time I'd got back to the car, maybe a mile and a quarter. But it's not a long walk at all. And to go back to the car, obviously, she's literally got another 2-minute walk to this junction here. That's it. That's it. So the only place that someone could have spied her, if someone had been following her, was this tiny walk along here. A 2-minute walk. Otherwise, you're on the river path, and she was seen. And she was seen by several people. So she was seen at the school. She had a conversation. 8:43, she's already on the river path, and she's walking along the river path. So the river path goes past the farm. So this path here goes past the farm. You can't see it on here, but that's the farm there. Hold on, where am I? So the farm's there. And then the weirs here. No, the farm's there, sorry. And the weirs here. Okay, those are just like houses with that's the Grapes pub. I don't know what that is. I think it's a house, but anyway, there's the weir. So 8:43, somebody saw her on this river path. So this path that goes up by the river, and then it's just a short walk to the bench. All right, so you go along here, along this tree line, and that's the bench right there, across from the haunted house. Okay. So at 8:47, a dog walker, somebody who knows Nicola, saw her walking around the lower field. So the lower field, so that's the bench. This is the lower field right here. And then at 9:10, somebody saw her walking in the upper field, which is this one. If you remember, I went there to the secret beach. So she was walking around this upper field at 9:10. And that's the last time she was seen, at 9:10. So she'd literally gone from the school along this road. So it's literally 2 minutes along this road. So she'd spoken to someone at the school at 8:40. She'd walked along this road. She'd started along the river path. She saw someone at 8:43. 4 minutes later, at 8:47, someone saw her in the lower field, which is this one. And then at 9:10, somebody saw her on the upper field, which is this one. So presumably she was just taking a nice leisurely walk around the edges, maybe. I don't know. Because if you were walking fast, you could have been round and back by 9:10. But somebody saw her on the upper field at 9:10. Yeah, I'm just calling it the haunted house now. It's a big house being renovated. Okay, so then at 9:20, the police know from tracking her phone that her phone was back at the bench. So that's here at 9:20. And then Willow and the phone were found at 9:33. But she was still logged into her work call, which finished at 9:30. So whatever happened to her happened between 9:20, when her phone and Willow were at this bench at 9:30 when she should have logged off her Teams call. So going back to what Paul said, he said that normally she's home by 10 a.m., you know, between 1:45 and 10 a.m. He works for an American company, so he works American hours. So his working day, he said that America are 6 hours behind, so he must be like Central Time. He must work for an American company that's in Central Time. So all of this nonsense about him being like dreadfully in debt and Lord knows what else, I've no idea what you're talking about, because he works for a company. So his working day doesn't start till later. But he said when Nicola does the school run and the dog walk, he can have an hour where he just makes a brew and he chills out for a bit. And he said about 10 o'clock, he went up to the office and he started checking some emails. And he thought, she's a bit late, because she's normally back by 10. By 10:15, he was getting worried. And he thought, she's normally back by now. But put things to the back of his mind, 10:30, he decided to go and look for her. So what he normally does is he goes to the gym on Friday lunchtime. He normally does his emails, goes to the gym, and then comes back to start work proper. Because like 2 p.m. would be 8 a.m. Central Time, wouldn't it? So he would start work then, I guess. Like, because the Americans are getting up. So what he did at 10:30 was he got his gym clothes on. He thought, I'll go and look for her. And once I've found her, I'll go straight to the gym. Did they find anything at the sea search? Not yet, no. Yes, Kyle.
Hi.
Hi, Kyle.
Speaking to some friends, and
yes.
They want to know what you think happened.
I think she fell in the river.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Oh. Kyle's talking to his friends in his ears about Nicola Bulley. So he came to ask me what my theory was. They're saying hi, Kyle. He's gone now. Oh, he said hi back. He's talking to his friends in his ears. He's just said every time I go out of his room, they say hi to him. Or he might have said every time I go out of the house, they say bye to me. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, he got his gym clothes on. So in the process of him getting his gym clothes on and getting ready to go out, the phone rang. And it was the school, the girls' school. And they said, look, it's a bit of a weird one, but, you know, we've had this report, you know, Willow and the phone have been found on the bench. And, oh, good question. Good question, Karen. Kyle, what's your theory? He's coming back.
What?
What's your theory?
Am I a fan favourite?
You are a fan favourite, yeah.
Do you want me to start my own channel?
Do you want him to start his own channel? What's your theory?
Aliens.
Really?
Aliens, yeah.
He says aliens. He thinks it's an alien.
UFOs are in Preston.
Oh, go away. He's being stupid. He's being stupid because he's got his friends in his ears. You're not going to get anything sensible out of him. Nothing at all. Area 51. Yeah. Anyway, so he went to the bench. He called 999 on his way there. So he set off, panicking, totally panicking. He called 999 about 10:50. He got to the bench, got Willow. There was like a few dog walkers hanging around, like, I guess concerned, like a few people had like gathered. And he had a look around. He had a look like in the hedges, because there's like where the bench is, there's like a fence that goes alongside, kind of separating the field that the bench is in from the other field. And there's like a hedgerow, and he looked round there. He walked into the field just to see if he could see her. Obviously she's not there. So he was really starting to panic. Really, really starting to panic. While he was there, the police rang him and said, we need you to go home, because there needs to be someone at home. Because they wanted to interview him, didn't they? I mean, you know, they don't tell you that, but, you know, woman goes missing, partner's at home. Come on now, we've got to look at the partner. And he said, you know, he knows that he would be suspect number one. He knows, and he just said to them very plainly, look, do what you've got to do, rule me out, and then we can move on, because we need to find her. So they were able to rule him out that day. I'm going to have to block him in a minute. If he gets really silly. If he gets really silly, I'm going to block him. Oh dear. Shut up, Kyle. You're derailing my stream. I'm gonna have to block Kyle. if he starts derailing my stream, I'll have to block him. I'll put him in timeout. I'll put him on the naughty step. Anyway, so yeah, the police were able to rule him out. So let's listen very carefully. They ruled him out on day 0. It wasn't even 24 hours and they were able to rule him out. How were they able to rule him out? Because he'd been sat there the whole time. So he's got his computer records. They had CCTV at the house. So he never left the house until the time he said he left the house. So, yeah, but the problem with that is Crime Watch with Kenny. The problem with that Crime Watch with Kenny is Chris Watts was arrested 2 days after Shanann and the girls were murdered. Do you know the Watts case, Crime Watch with Kenny? Are you a channel? Do you know the story of Chris Watts? You do know that Shanann and the girls and baby Nico were murdered on the 13th of August, and Chris Watts was arrested on the 15th. They probably would have arrested him on the 14th, but they were just playing with him. So Paul Ansell, on the other hand, was ruled out on day 1. Chris Watts was surveilled. Have you read the Discovery, Crime Watch with Kenny? Have you read the Watts Discovery? It's available online, 1,000 pages. Have you read it? Have you read the Discovery? Have you read that from the afternoon of the 13th of August, when Chris turned up and Officer Coonrod was there, you know, for the welfare check? Do you know, Crime Watch with Kenny, that they started surveilling him that afternoon because they suspected him and they surveilled him the whole of the 14th, there was people sat down the road. Did you know that Crime Watch with Kenny? Did you know that they were surveilling him and they were writing down every single car, and every time Chris moved, they were writing it down, and it's all there in the discovery. And then on the 15th, when they invited him in for an interview, you know, he did his polygraph. They were going to do it on the evening of the 14th, but they decided not to do the polygraph on the evening of the 14th. They decided to wait 12 hours and get him in on the 15th. So he did his polygraph, failed that dismally, and then he was arrested because he confessed. So how similar is that to this case, Crime Watch with Kenny? All right, so there's a channel maybe we don't want to watch. Crime Watch with Kenny, are you a channel? Are you a channel, Crime Watch with Kenny? It kind of sounds like you are. Anyway, you've got a shout out, and there we go. All right. Now, where were we? Yeah. So I'm listening to Kyle. I'm listening to Kyle. I don't know what he's planning, but I might have to block him. Kyle should start a UFO channel. Yeah, so they ruled him out, and then they're just in utter disbelief. He says it's just a living hell. A living hell. But he took Willow back on the Saturday morning. So this was Friday. He took Willow back. And I know a lot of people have been saying, take Willow back and get Willow to sniff her scent and stuff. And he did. He took her back. And when she went through the gate, because there's like the iron gate and the bench, she just walked into the field as normal. Oh. So she just walked into the field as normal, like, and he said, you know, where's mummy? Find mummy. And she didn't. She didn't. And you know why she didn't? Because she doesn't know. She doesn't know. And the interviewer said, you know, Willow probably saw what happened. And he said, I know. And she can't talk. But the thing is, if Nicola had fallen down the bank, as I think she did, and she just disappeared out of Willow's sight, dogs don't have what we call object permanence. And you can try this with your own dog. That if you cover yourself in a blanket, like if you stand and then just cover yourself in a blanket, dogs are confused. Yes, they can still smell you because you're still in the room, but they can't see you anymore. And that confuses them. So if somebody just disappears down a bank, that dog isn't going to be able to understand the concept of water. So they understand the concept of height. Bigfoot Kyle. They understand the concept of height, which is why a dog's going to be very reluctant to jump down a bank that high. But they don't understand the concept that of something getting washed away by water. So I genuinely think Willow does not know what happened to her. What would your dog jump down a 10-foot bank though? I mean, would she or he take that leap of faith and just jump down a 10-foot bank into a river? Because I honestly don't think. Just ignore him. Just ignore him. He wants your attention. Just ignore him now. Ignore him. Kyle, stop it. So annoying. I'm going to evict him. I might go make him go and sit in the shed. I do. I really think she fell in. I do. I really, really do. Yeah, but who? And if she was distracted by someone, they're not going to be able to distract her. I mean, right, this is why this has got to be the most, if it's an abduction, this has got to be the most elaborate abduction I can possibly think of. So that's a nice segue in to the red van that everybody's talking about and the farm. So the farm is here. You saw it on my footage. You saw the farmhouse really clearly. So this is where the river walk starts. That's the bridge. And then it's literally a minute walk along there. And then the police and the searchers had got their vehicles and stuff there. So just a little, like, I don't know, car park area, I guess, for farm machinery. But the police and the searchers had their command centre there when they were, you know, combing this area. That's the farmhouse. And then this is the caravans. So I think they've got about 10 caravan units. I mean, they did in, when was this taken? Image date. Can't see the image date. But this is the house right here. And these caravans, you can rent them in summer. So it's not a traveller's gypsy camp. These are static caravans that live there, and people can just rent them for camping. And then in summer, you can bring your tent and you can camp in this field here. They're called Wyreside Farm Caravan Park. Sasha, thank you. A lollipop for Kyle. Thank you, Sasha, for the $13.99 Canadian dollars. So they even have a website. Look, I'll show you the site. I bet they're so fed up. Right, so that's what the caravans look like, static caravans. You can rent one of these, or you can come and pitch your own tent. Right? That's all it is. It's not a gypsy camp. I don't know why people are honing in. This is a little family-run business with a handful of caravans that you can rent. Small, tranquil caravan and camping park set in 7 acres of pasture land by the River Wyre. Caravan holiday homes. We try to keep a selection of new and pre-owned units available for sale at a range of prices. Why not come and see what we have? Well, they've got about 10 caravan units. That's all. So, and they're not even open now. They're not even open, guys. They opened in March the 1st. They're not even open, so there's no one in those caravans. The police searched that area. They searched that area, and people are, I don't know what people are doing. It's insane. It's just insane. And then the other place that people are homing in on is Rowan Water, which is this. Now, these are holiday cabins. Now, I don't know whether you can live in here permanently, but these are cabins. And what people, I think, probably will do is buy one of these as a holiday home, and then they can fish in Rowan Water. Presumably it's a fishing place. Or I don't know. I don't know whether you're allowed to live there. It's pretty posh. Let's see if we can go down to see Rowan Water. Where will it let me go? Let me go there. Right. So it's cabins and it's gated. It's a little gated community. So you can't even get through that way. And the back of Rowan Water, which backs onto the upper field here. This is the upper field. That is, it's a 6-foot fence. You can't get round there. I filmed it. I walked past. So I went to the secret beach, which is there, and had a paddle in that. And then I walked back round and I filmed the fence at the back of Rowan Water. And there's no way someone can get through that way. And if they climbed over the fence and took a struggling woman over the fence, then they're going to have to get out through. It's a gated community. Can you imagine? And that's been cleared. Very easy to clear because it's got CCTV. So they've cleared that exit there. They've cleared allotment lane, which is where the farm is, because the farm themselves have CCTV, presumably, there. So they've cleared allotment lane, that's a possible exit. They've cleared Rowan Water, which is a possible exit. This is all fenced. The only place, I think there's a river walk right up here that if I ever went back, I'd walk this way. You can walk all the way. I think you could probably walk all the way up here past these properties, and you could probably get out there. I think you probably could get out there just by the looks of things. But you'd have to walk down this river path, and you might not even be able to get through because that looks like they've got their garden all the way down to the bank. So these properties here might even own the bank. So you might not even be able to get down without going on private property. By the looks of things, you probably can't. But there is a bridge there. By the looks of things. So if you walk down there and go over the bridge, then you've got all of these fields to get round and to disappear into. But you're passing by Rowan Water, and you're passing by these properties. And these are open fields. These are open fields. Look, there's no coverage whatsoever. And the map doesn't do it justice because it's flat. The whole area is flat. You can see for miles because it's flat. The area. Oh, thank you, Paper Chaser. I missed that. Thank you for the $4.99. I do try, but it's a losing battle, honestly. You can see for miles. So for somebody to stage an abduction by abducting her on the upper field and somehow sneaking past Rowan Water here, going over this bridge and then into the fields, where are they going to take her? Because there's nowhere. From somebody, you'd have to be the most brazen person, because there's these little tracks, obviously, that tractors use, but you'd be able to see them. You'd be able to see them for miles. I mean, I'm not even talking like a few yards and then you duck under a hedgerow. There's nothing. They are open fields. And these little tracks that are used for the farms, you know, right, look, there's a farm there. It's all farmland. It's just farms. There's a farm there. There's a handful of houses there, by the looks of things. There's a farm there. It's all just farms. And you know what farmers are like with their land, right? If you don't walk on the right path, you're going to get shouted at. I mean, the farm near me, he doesn't care, right? Let's just be clear, right? The fields I walk in, there's public rights of way all through those fields. And he doesn't care, right? You can go off the path and he doesn't care. But some farmers, if you're not on the path, they'll come out, right? So the chances of an abduction happening in this direction are so slim. You have literally got to walk across fields, field after field, to either get back onto the road or get back over here into this next town here, in Churchtown, whatever it's called. There's no chance. There's no chance an abduction happened that way. So the only thing that they're looking at now is this tiny section of path that isn't covered by CCTV. So from the farm to this place where it comes out on back onto Blackpool Lane. The Grapes has CCTV. And then this way, I'm assuming that the church is going to have CCTV, I'm guessing. But it's the possibility of someone coming out here that they're appealing for dash cam. But I think they're only doing it to exclude any possibility of her walking away. Because if somebody parked here, right, it would be seen. Someone would have seen. You can't even park directly, like, in front of this. I mean, it's a very, very narrow path. So you couldn't park up there and not be noticed. And you can't park that side because it's just all farmland. There's no path at all on that side for miles up. And then if you went and parked on the Grapes car park there, it's got CCTV. There you go. Is that the camera? I don't think that's the camera. I think the camera's around the other side. So this is what I mean about the likelihood of abduction. You have to think up some really bizarre scenarios for it even to work. Exactly, Irene. Exactly. She'd have been kicking and screaming and God knows what. Unless you own the farm. But the farm... Oh, no. No, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Right, so... the red truck, right? Red truck. Red van, whatever it is. Red van. Okay, let's get rid of that. So bench is here. Right now, I just want you to imagine this scenario. Not many gun owners in the UK. There's a lot. There's a lot. But handgun, you can't have a handgun. You can only have a handgun. There's very specific handful of circumstances. But you can have a rifle, a shotgun. So right, you can get a shot. You need a license, but you can get a shotgun or a rifle. She could have been tricked like Sarah Everett and not gone kicking and screaming. Yeah, but where? 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 How? Without anybody seeing her with someone else. Yeah, it's not like you could hide a shotgun rifle in your pocket, is it? Emily, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. If someone has a knife, then you do as you were told. No, you take the knife off them, but I guess that's just me. Anyway, moving on. You take it off them and then give it back to them whilst breaking their hand. I guess that's just me. All right, so this red van. The red van was seen on Hall Lane, which is here, right? And it was seen near a barn. Well, Hall Lane has a barn, all right? Because there's a farm right here. So I'm not saying it's this barn. I'm not saying it's this farm that it was found at, but this is a farm and it's got barns of some variety. Right, there's the farmhouse. There's the barn. Looks like there's another barn behind it. So there might even be another farm up here. I don't know. These look like pretty posh houses. That's a nice house, isn't it? Can't even see it. Let's have a look what else is up Hall Lane. There's a white van right there. No, nothing else on Hall Lane. So it does. Whoa! I nearly went off the bend then. Nearly crashed. We're still on Hall Lane. Got to travel slow. Not a lot here. We're still going, and we're still going. Right. It was a woman going to the cake shop, so I don't think she'd be walking all the way up here, would she? So I suspect it was somebody walking past. Oh, God. Can I not go any faster? Is it not annoying when you... Ooh, that's a bit scary. All right, so I'm guessing it's somebody who lives on Hall Lane, because she said, I was going to the cake shop and she saw this red van that she'd not seen before. So she noticed it because she'd never seen it before. Because they know all the vehicles, they know everything. Now, I'm wondering whether this red van was just dropping something off at this farm. Because, and the reason I don't think this is connected is because, how far did this woman walk? Where's the cake shop? I don't know where the cake shop is, but anyway, she was going to the cake shop. The reason why I don't think this has got anything to do with Nicola's disappearance, because if this van, right, parked at this farm here, where this lady saw it, and decided to kidnap Nicola, how are they going to get her to and from the van? I'll wait. I'll wait for suggestions, because I'd like to know that that's where the van was, let's say. So it'll be somewhere around there, because it was near a barn and it was on Hall Lane. So a crazy farmer took her at gunpoint, made her tie the dog up and leave her. He's got her tied up. Yeah, well, but Willow wasn't tied up. Willow was loose when she was found. Yeah, the only gun crime we really have is illegal guns, because you can buy a gun, 200 quid, you can rent one. But it's, you know, it's the bad guys, the very bad guys who know where to go for guns. Any cameras in that area? Yes. We've just talked about, shall I just rewind back like 10 minutes and I've talked about the CCTV that's ruled various exits out. You can make a gun on a 3D printer. Wow, can you? I'm not going to try it. Right. No, I'm not going to try it. Right. Okay, so I'm still waiting. So red van's here. Can I do a pin? I don't want to compare house prices. What are you talking about? Right. Red van's here. People can't accept that she fell in the river. I can't deal with it, but come on. Right. The red van has been all over the internet. Like, I've been stuck in the Murdoch trial pretty much all day, so I've purposefully not trekked Twitter tonight before I came on because it would wind me up. But I've seen the red van all over the internet. So you guys who've been watching channels who've talked about the red van or TikToks or whatever else you watch, tell me the theory of how the red van abducted her. Tell me. So red van was here. Nicola was here, where my arrow is. That's the bench. So how has that been possible? Murdoch trial was brilliant today. Yeah, I've got the last hour to watch, or however long they went on for. It was afternoon tea break when I left it. What about the fisherman? Where did that rumor start? I've no idea. I mean, look, there's a river. There's the chances of people going fishing there are pretty high. I don't know how that one started. So I'm waiting. Nothing to grab onto on the bank. The bank is a sheer drop down. It's a sheer drop. It's, I'd say 10 feet from the edge of the bank to the bottom of the river. And that's something else I want to talk about, because Peter from SGI said something else useful, believe it or not, on the program. So I'm waiting for suggestions about how this red van abducted Nicola. So while I'm waiting, I'll just say something else useful that Peter said, because he says something useful that when they did the sonar, so he said something useful the other day and he said something else useful today. So when they did the sonar of this stretch of river, where it's likely Nicola fell in, there is jagged rocks on the bottom. Now, I don't know how big these rocks are, but he definitely said jagged rocks. So if you fall 10 foot from the edge of a bank into a river onto rocks, you are going to be hurt. You're going to be winded at the very least. You never said the red van took her. But why? Well, I'm not talking to you specifically, Karen. I'm talking about anybody who has seen a video, a TikTok, anything else that has hypothesized that this red van is somehow related to or responsible for the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. I'm not saying you have to believe it. I'm just saying what is even being said about it. But anyway, Peter said something else useful as well. He gave us the approximate depth of the river at the bench. And loads of people have asked. And he said it was about a foot higher on the day that Nicola disappeared than when they were there. But that's not the only useful thing he said. So on the 26th of January, the day before Nicola disappeared, the river had been recorded as being unusually high. Now, I don't know why. I mean, I don't think we've had a massive amount of rain, more than Lancashire normally does, but the river was unusually high on the 26th, and then Nicola went missing on the morning of the 27th. The river has since dropped. So Peter said that when they were there at that spot, right at the bank, right at the edge, it was about 2 feet high. That's all. However, when you're in the middle, it's about 3.5 meters. 3.5 meters. What's that in like proper measurements? So 3 meters, 3 yards. That's going to be like 10 feet. More than 10 feet, isn't it? So when I went to the secret beach here, if you watch back my footage, what do you think would make her get close enough to fall? Some people will walk along the riverbank. Some people will have a freak accident. She may have been playing with Willow and tripped backwards and fell in backwards and smacked her head on a rock. Willow may have jumped up at her and she lost her footing and just tripped down the bank. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, look, people fall downstairs. People trip over their own feet and there's nothing there and they trip over their own feet. I don't know. The ground does slope downwards, yeah. Yeah, the ground slopes downwards. So the bench is on the flat bit and then immediately from the bench, it goes quite a sharp slope down and then there's a drop, a big drop from the edge down to the water. So when I was at the secret beach here, if you watch back my footage, and I was poking my walking pole in just to make sure that there was solid ground underneath my feet. And where I was, it was no more than a foot high. I mean, no more than a foot high, if that, where I was standing. But I did say, I actually said to the camera, oh, there's a, you know, it's steep. There's a steep downward like trajectory of this river, like it wasn't a flat riverbed. And I poked my stick like further in, and I wasn't even poking it in the middle at all. And my stick went straight down through the sand. And I don't know how far I could have put my stick down before it would have reached solid ground. So it's very deceptive because where that river, where the river is very calm there, it just looks really shallow, but it's not. I mean, it is quite shallow there, but by the time you get round here, it's had the benefit of an additional water source from the River Brock, and the currents really start to pick up. And yes, it is still quite slow. You know, when it's going past here, because it only becomes tidal at the weir, which is here. But yeah, Peter said, because all of you Peter fans, he said it was when they were there, it was 2 feet high at the bank, the level of the water, the depth of the water, but in the middle, it was 3.5 meters, which is, I'm going to say about 10 feet. Yeah, it's very silty. The whole river, every river along the northwest coast is silty and sandy. Once you have tunnel vision, you can't see anything else. I'm waiting for suggestions about how she could have been abducted. I'm not seeing any. I'm watching the chat. Wouldn't she scream? What if she fell in? Probably not, because if you fall 10 feet down onto rocks, you're going to be winded or knocked out completely. Snark time. Look, guys, right. So you're not giving me any suggestions. So the red van was here. The only way I can possibly see the red van being able to abduct her is, because the red van's parked here. We know the red van's parked here because the lady going to the cake shop said so. So the person is either going to have to walk by the roadway. So they're going to have to walk along here, up here, down the riverbank here, and know that Nicola was sat there, right? Because there's no way from Hall Lane you can see this bench here. No way in the world, right? So they're going to have some kind of, I don't know, sixth sense that there's a woman sat at the bench. So they're going to have to walk all the way around here, down here, down here, down here, abduct her, leave Willow there loose, So Willow can't follow because she's got a force field, right? Let's just say they put a force field around Willow so she couldn't move. And then drag a kicking and screaming woman all the way back, all the way down the road, and then all the way back down Hall Lane. So I don't think that's very likely, do you? No. Okay, so what about the second route? Well, okay, you could go this way. So again, you're still going to have to know that Nicola was sat at the bench. So what you do then is you have to walk down here, and then you can go down this driveway, because this is the haunted house. This is how you get to the haunted house from Hall Lane. This has a Hall Lane address. So it has a long driveway. So you're going to have to walk down this driveway here. You're going to have to walk through the haunted house. This has got a big garden wall. Now, I haven't measured how big it is. So you're going to have to jump this wall, jump down the bank, wade through the river, bearing in mind that it's 3.5 meters deep at the centre. So you can't just walk through, you've got to swim. So you've got to swim across, then climb up a 10-foot bank, abduct Nicola, then you have to do it all in reverse with a screaming woman. So you put the force field around Willow so she can't follow you. You drag her down a 10-foot bank, you swim across the river, climb back up the other opposite bank, over the garden wall, right? Back through this house here, back down here, and then back onto Hall Lane, and then you drive away. It's totally possible. Totally possible. Or Nicola could have fell in the river. Which do you think's more likely? What if someone hurt her and pushed her in? That's possible, yeah. That is possible. They could have hurt her and pushed her in. However, they'd have had to do it without making any noise. Elvis drives a red van. There's someone called Elvis who lives in my village. It's not his actual name. I have been told the story of how he got that name. And I've actually forgotten his real name. He's just referred to as Elvis. I don't know how he got that name. He doesn't even look like Elvis Presley at all. Anyway. All right. So, yeah, I don't think the red van, honestly, is relevant. So, can we rule that one out, do you reckon? Can we rule that one out now? Because whichever way, I find it unlikely. Shergar. Maybe she rode off on Shergar. Dear me. Oh, I tell you what, I was gutted when Shergar went missing. Shergar's a racehorse, by the way, for anybody not in the UK. Shergar was this fantastic racehorse, right? He was really good. And he got kidnapped. He got completely kidnapped. And I think, what happened? They didn't find him, did they? They didn't find him. It's probably dog food, but yeah, they didn't find him. I saw Shergar win. Do you know what? I saw Shergar win a race because my dad used to watch horse racing. So we went to the races, and Shergar won while I was there. Watched him live, Shergar live. It was a beautiful horse. Yeah, I put posters up around my village, you know, for Shergar. Me and my friend, we drew pictures of Shergar and put them up around the village. Well, not that we lived anywhere near where Shergar was kidnapped from, but we did our bit. All right, so red van, no, I don't think the red van's very relevant. So I can't see how she could have been abducted. It's not impossible. It's just incredibly unlikely. It's really unlikely. It's much more likely she fell in the river, given that she was next to a river that has a steep embankment and a sheer drop into the river. The IRA kidnapped him, I know. But what happened to him? They didn't find him, did they? Red van was just a postman. Yeah, probably. I think it was just probably someone delivering something to the farm. Shergar took her to the red van. I mean, you know, it's so sad. It's such a sad, sad, sad story. And people are just making up these theories that don't make sense. They just don't make sense. And I wish another theory would come along that would make more sense than her falling in the river. Because if there was another theory that made more sense than her falling in the river, then at least that would be something else that we could look at. Maybe another vehicle, but where from? Because the vehicle, so another vehicle, so vehicles can't drive to this bench. You cannot get a vehicle. I mean, you could get like a quad bike or a motorbike. I mean, obviously, there's they mow the grass. They must do. So there must be an access for vehicles that can go on, you know, can do grass well. But you can't just drive a car up there. That's the thing. This is the reason why I can't get to grips with the abduction theory, because there's no way you can get a car to the bench. You can't get a car to the bench. I mean, how would you get it out? Because you can't go the riverway, which is the only exit that they have not got CCTV for. So let me say again, for those who have just come in or weren't listening, that the police have cleared allotment lane. She did not go out this way. So she did not go out of the farm. I'll say again, she did not go out of the farm. So allotment lane, there was CCTV somewhere on allotment lane. I don't know where. They cleared allotment lane. The farm has got nothing, zero, zilch, nada, nothing to do with this. Can we say it again? Can we say it all together? The farm has got nothing to do with this. Why? Because they've cleared allotment lane. Nobody went out of this farm in the time span, because allotment lane has been cleared. That's the route in to the farm. The caravan park was not even open. They only opened for customers on March the 1st. That's on their website. The other possible way out is Rowan Water, which is these cabins, like fishing cabins or holiday cabins, very posh, all fenced in. It's a gated community. There's a gate that stops you going in, right? So it's private, all private. She did not go out of Rowan Water because it's got CCTV. Again, I don't know whereabouts at Rowan Water there's CCTV, but the police cleared that exit as well. We've talked about the possibility of her going out this way over the fields, but it's miles. And bearing in mind, this is a very well frequented dog walking route. So, and this is flat. The map does not do it justice. It's flat. It's flat. So to get from here to the next village, or even to this farm, which is the nearest building in this direction, you have to walk over or drive over if you can. I don't even know how you could do it. Right, there's these little tracks, which I'm assuming are for tractors. There's these little tracks. So yes, you could drag her kicking and screaming over this bridge and then have a vehicle waiting here, and then you could drive all the way up here and all the way up here. Yeah, you could do that. But would you do that? It's got to be the most elaborate, risky abduction in the history of abductions. You'd have to have someone who was so brazen and so intent on kidnapping her. How would they even know she was there? To arrange all this abduction, how would they know she was there? At the bench at that time, or on the upper field at that time? To have a vehicle ready waiting, how would they know she was there? Because it's not like she was there every day. Like Paul was there some days because they took it in turns. I don't understand. So the only other exit that's not cleared is this path that I walked on. This stretch of path, tiny stretch of path, has no CCTV. So from the farm to the road, that little stretch, but there's nowhere to go. This is the thing. There's nowhere to go because allotment lane's been cleared. So it's not like somebody can drag her through this hedge and go up allotment lane because allotment lane's been cleared. The grapes has been cleared because of CCTV at the grapes. So it's not like they could drag her through these bushes round the back of this house, if it's even possible to get there, and drag her through there because the grapes has CCTV and that's been cleared. So the only other exit is this one that I used. It doesn't have CCTV covering it. But where is there to go without being seen? Because you can't park a vehicle there because you've got this bridge in the way and you've got this tiny path. So if you parked a car there, someone would see you. I don't get how someone can abduct someone from that location. I don't see it. I can't work it out. Thank you, Pottermouse, for the £5. If I had abducted Nicola, I would not have left vital clues behind, like the phone, the dog's harness. Exactly. Exactly. I wouldn't have left anything either. Like the fact that this phone's supposed to have been left as a decoy, that's nonsense. I'd have taken the SIM card out, got rid of the SIM card and ditched the phone somewhere. That phone would just disappear off grid. It's the most elaborate abduction. And I get stuck not just on the impossibility of all exits except this one being cleared by the police because of CCTV, or just the sheer impossibility of it. But if you had a vehicle waiting here, someone would have seen it. It's a tiny village, but yet this does get a lot of traffic because it's a tiny village, but it's like one of those roads that goes to different places. So you're not stopping at St. Michael's, but you're traveling through on the way to somewhere else, like Garstang Road. that this little Blackpool Lane leads onto is quite a busy road, because you can get to Blackpool through it, you go to Garstang through it. It does have quite a lot of through traffic. But to park a vehicle here to abduct a woman from the field, it would be seen. You can't park it there because of the bridge. So you'd have to park it way down here. So you'd have to drag the woman by the church, which I'm sure has CCTV. That could be the cake shop. Oh no, that's the church hall. I bet that has CCTV. There's a handful of houses there. I bet they've got CCTV. Maybe they don't, but the church will have. So a lorry's crept up behind me. I'm sure that lorry wasn't there before. That's crept up behind me. And then the other way has got CCTV. The grapes are CCTV. Now, I don't know how far what the orientation of the grape CCTV is, but I'm guessing that it will point out towards the car park. So the car will have had to park between the grapes and the bridge. And there's houses. Look, these are cottages. They don't even have front gardens. They're right onto the road. So one of these houses would have seen a car parked right there. It would have been spotted. I can't get my head around it. Carl's right, it's aliens. Or the most logical explanation is she fell in the river. And I know it's horrible. I know that people want to think she's still alive. So do I. I really do. If I could think of a way that she could have got out of this place without being seen, I would be all for it. I'd be trying my best to work out who took her. How could she have got out? But I can't see it. Pottermouse, thank you for the £2. Better to leave nothing than decoy clues. Come on. I know. You just leave nothing. Like, why would they leave Willow there? Why would someone abduct her and leave Willow there? If Willow didn't follow, which she would have done, right? She absolutely would have done. But if she didn't follow, why leave her there? I don't get it. Willow would have followed, but even if she hadn't have followed, even if she'd just been told to stay and she did, she wouldn't have done. Why leave her there? Why leave anything? So if she fell in, that's the end of the conversation. Well, I guess. Well, I mean, once she's found, yeah. And I don't know. I kind of think that people are doing what they do, theorizing. It's kind of natural, speculating. It's a horrible thing to happen. People speculate on horrible things. And also there's from a media standpoint, it's keeping the story going. The possibility of her being abducted or her walking away voluntarily, and this being a big mystery that everyone's talking about, it does keep her name and her face out there. It does. But it doesn't help when the speculation starts naming people, businesses, and going real life on people, breaking into places. That little brick hut thing that's on the lower field has been broken into. Somebody's gone and broke through the boarding, thinking that they're going to rescue her from this little hut. It's all boarded up. It's been boarded up for forever. It was obvious that had not been tampered with in the last 2 weeks, because I walked past it. I looked at it. If it had looked like its boarding had been recent, then yes, that was a problem, but it's not. It's old boarding, but someone's broken into it. So I know that people don't think that she fell in the river, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But going real life on businesses and naming people they think did it is never, never helpful, ever. If made to look like abduction, then what are the alternatives? The alternatives are that she fell in the river. And there's nothing more to it than that. I mean, what else is there? Right. So she walked away voluntarily, leaving her dog, her phone, and her car there. Because the car was parked where she left it. So, all right, that's one option. She was abducted. That's another option. It's unlikely, very, 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 very unlikely. She went somewhere and took her own life. Okay, that's another option. Or she fell in the river. So what's more likely? Of those four scenarios, what's more likely? Given that she was last seen near a river, and given that her phone and her dog were right next to the river, what's the most likely scenario? So Paul said she'd never leave her girls, and Willow was like a third child. That's something else. She'd never leave Willow. She was like their third child. So I really can't see that she would have walked away voluntarily or taken her own life. Can't see it at all. Abduction, it's possible, but so highly improbable. Like I said, it would have had to have been the most intricately planned and masterfully executed abduction I have ever seen. Or she fell in the river, and it's just a tragic, tragic accident. And to say that it's impossible for a body to be washed away, then I'll invite you all to go and watch the live stream. It's only an hour. The live stream I did yesterday on this channel that not many people have watched. So I would invite you to go and watch the tragic case of Roger Jones. If you don't think it's possible that Nicola could have been washed away from that location and headed out towards the sea, please go and watch my live stream from yesterday. It's called The Tragic Case of Roger Jones. Same day, same river, just 45 years apart. Go and watch it, an hour of your time, and then come back and tell me it's not possible. All right, so before I sign off, I want to just go through the Lancashire Police update from today, because they have been doing daily updates. That numpty who was on Channel 5 saying that the police have hardly ever updated. No, they've been updating daily. So this is today's update. It's now exactly 2 weeks since Nicola Bulley went missing, and our search for the mum of two is continuing. Specialist resources, including underwater search teams, drones, mounted, and the police helicopter, will be out today as we comb the River Wyre and down out into the sea. People may have seen less police activity in the last day or two than previously around the river across the weir above the weir, at St. Michael's, but that's not because we've stopped or stepped down our searches. It's because the focus of the search has moved further downstream into the area of the river, which becomes tidal and then out towards the coast. Throughout the investigation, we have been keeping an open mind about what might have happened to Nicola, and we continue to look at all potential scenarios to eliminate them. So they want to go through these scenarios, as we've just done, to eliminate them. We are reviewing our decisions regularly. Based on all the work we've done up to now, our belief remains that Nicola may have fallen into the river for some reason, but we are continuing to investigate all possible leads, and this involves viewing CCTV, dashcam footage, and speaking to people who are providing us with information. It remains the case that at the present time, there is absolutely nothing in all the intensive inquiries we have made that suggests anything untoward has happened, or that there is any third-party involvement in Nicola's disappearance, but the investigation is ongoing. We are aware of reports in the media about a red van being reported to us, and we would like to stress that while this has been reported to us and we are making efforts to identify the owner at this time, there is nothing to suggest this is anything other than one of the many hundreds of vehicles in the area that morning. The inquiry team are working through hundreds of pieces of information, and reports such as this in the media can distract from genuine inquiries. So they don't think there's anything in it either. Our priority through this investigation has been on finding Nicola and providing answers for her family. They continue to be supported and regularly updated by specially trained officers. Unfortunately, we continue to see groundless and hurtful abuse of innocent people, including witnesses and local businesses. Leave the farm alone. They're not travellers. They don't have a traveller camp on their land. They're not even open for business, which is totally unacceptable. We also continue to see a huge amount of commentary from so-called experts. Now, someone told me off in my comments the other day for saying so-called experts. The police are using that term, so I'm going to use it. From so-called experts, ill-informed speculation and conspiracy theories, which is damaging to the investigation, the community of St. Michael's, and worst of all, to Nicola's family. It must stop. We have consulted with the National Crime Agency. So people who are saying that they should bring in another force, well, they're being supported by the National Crime Agency. So there's that, which is offering continual advice and support along with a number of national experts. So these are experts in currents, tides, academics, the Coast Guard, all of these people, right, who understand the current in a river. We will not tolerate any antisocial or criminal behaviour, and we will not hesitate to use the power at our disposal and to take action where appropriate. A Section 34 dispersal order, which was in place for St. Michael's, has been cancelled, but we will put back in place if we see a repeat of the behaviour from earlier this week. So that was people breaking in to the haunted house, people breaking into that little brick shack thing, committing acts of criminal damage. They should arrest them. Well, I hope they arrest them. We will have an increased presence in the village over the weekend, and if anyone has information or concerns, they should feel free to come and speak to us. Anyone with information or footage is asked to call 101 quoting log 565 of January 30th. For immediate sightings, call 999, or you can submit information through that portal. Description of Nicola. She's white, 45. She's 5'3" with light brown shoulder length hair. She speaks with an Essex accent. She was last seen wearing a long knee-length black quilted gilet with a hood. She has a black Engelbert Strauss coat underneath, which has long sleeves and came to her waist. She was wearing tight black jeans and has long green walking socks tucked into her jeans. She was wearing size 5 ankle-length green Wellington boots from Next. Her hair was tied in a ponytail and she was wearing a pale blue Fitbit. So, yeah, she was on a work call, yeah. So that's the police update. Yesterday, they were out in Morecambe Bay. Today, they were searching around the Shard Bridge area. For those of you who've been watching my live streams over the last few days, you will know where Shard Bridge is. It's about a halfway between St Michael's and the coast and the estuary. It's around here. Somewhere there it is. And it's just before the river estuaries out into Morecambe Bay, and it's where there are massive sandbanks. The whole place is just sandbanks. This is at low tide. Google has caught it at low tide. But some of the footage that I put in my video that I played earlier, and I'm going to play it again before we finish, was from today, and the tide was high at Shard Bridge, and it's wild when the tide's high, but it's still very shallow underneath where these sandbanks have built up, and people who fall in the wire upstream get found around here. So it's a good place to search. Spoiler alert for those of you who didn't watch my live stream yesterday and who do go and plan and watch it. Roger Jones was found here. Also, little 2-year-old Reese Maybury was also found at Shard Bridge. Just 2 years old. He didn't travel as far. I think he was only like a half a mile or a mile down the road. He was on holiday with his folks. It was one of these holiday camps, I think. And he fell in the river, and they found him at Shard Bridge. But I think they found him quite quickly. But Roger Jones, spoiler alert, it took 2 months for him to turn up there. But he did travel a lot further than Nicola might have travelled. So please do go and watch it. If you do not think that a body can float all the way out to this location, this is about 7 miles from St Michael's. If you don't think that that can happen, then I urge you to go and watch my live stream and the tragic case of Roger Jones, because his family have spoken out. So it's a massive stretch of water. So to say that she's not in the river is utterly ridiculous, absolutely baseless, baseless. All right, so I'll show you the footage from today. So this is from today. This is Shard Bridge that we've just seen on Google. This is Shard Bridge today, and the tide was high. Look at it. It's wild. Look at it. Looks a bit different than it does on Google, doesn't it? That's when the tide's high. That's Shard Bridge. And then this was yesterday when they were in Morecambe Bay. So to say they're not doing anything, I think is very unfair. I've not been sharing it, have I? I've not been sharing it. I'll show it again. This is Shardbridge today. So that's about halfway, I'm just over halfway between St. Michael's and the coast. And then that's yesterday when they were out in Morecambe Bay. So I think they're being guided by the tides as to where they're going to search on any particular day. Yeah, the water changes loads. So this was Shardbridge today. This is what I mean. The water is so unpredictable. And that's not even the estuary. That's upstream of the estuary. But yeah, when you look at Shardbridge on Google was there, the Google car was there on a day when the tide was low. And look at the difference. Look at the difference. It changes loads. That's why the tides, Morecambe Bay, are absolutely treacherous. They are so dangerous because they're so unpredictable. And when the sea comes in, it comes in a long way. It's so flat around there. And it's wild. It's wild. So many people have died in the bay. And when people fall in the wire, they tend to turn up here, around here. So that's why they're out there. They're not out there being desperate. They're there because that's where people who fall in the wire end up. I don't understand why people can't get to grips with how rivers work. Let's watch it again. This is today. Look at it, how different it looks. But they're taking advice from national experts, actual experts in currents and tides and stuff. This is yesterday in Morecambe Bay. It can indeed take months. It can. A river will only release a body when the river wants to release the body. With Roger Jones, it took 2 months, but he travelled further than Nicola did. Go and watch the tragic case of Roger Jones. His family have spoken out. His family want Roger's story told because it's so similar to that of Nicola's. It's not heading to a cold case. It's not cold. It's not cold. It's just a matter of this has become a national story. Thousands of people sadly lose their lives in water, and many of them are never found. And because this case has become a national story, or even an international one, because a lot of you guys are not in Britain, are you? You know, it's becoming an international story that people are going to think this is some kind of, you know, missing persons case that's highly mysterious when it's nature. And I understand people, especially the family, don't want to accept it. I get it. I wouldn't accept it if I was them either. I wouldn't want to think about it if I was them. I would not. But at the same time, you've got to look at all the possibilities and what's most likely. What's most likely? Are the cameras in the caravan park? Please rewind. We've discussed that at length. Please rewind. It's going to take time. Yeah, it is. She was a strong swimmer and it was shallow where she went in. Please go back and watch my videos over the last few days and then perhaps revise your opinion, please. Thank you. I do as well. High respect to Roger Jones's family. Yeah, I do. For speaking out, for, you know, sharing words of comfort and solace to Nicola's family. They know exactly what she's going through, or they're going through, rather. What do you mean you can't see how she went near enough to fall in? Well, I was only a few steps away from the edge. If you watched, if you saw any of the footage of when Peter was there, you know, the expert, and Paul was stood on the bank with him, Paul was stood right at the edge. And I wonder whether it's just something that Paul and Nicola did, that they like walking along the riverbank, and maybe they did get close to the edge. People like to do cliff walking. They walk along the edge of cliffs. And you become, I guess when you do a walk so regularly, you become a little bit immune to the possible dangers, or you don't even think about it. And then, you know, she was wearing really heavy winter clothes as well. So you fall down a 10-foot drop onto rocks and you're wearing heavy winter clothes. The strongest swimmer wouldn't get out of that. The strongest swimmer would not get out of that. And it's not shallow. It might be 2 foot at the right at the edge, but Peter, the expert, said that it was 3.5 meters in the middle at that place where she went in. 3.5 meters, what's that, about 10 feet? So if you've fallen onto rocks at the edge and you're disoriented and you're winded and you're trying to work out which way is up, and you can't get up a 10-foot bank, so you try to swim for it, and you are going to sink like a stone because you've got heavy winter clothes. You're not going to stay up for very long. What's your explanation for the report that Willow was not barking at the water? I've explained this several times. Dogs don't have object permanence. What that means is once you've gone, you've gone. Unless they can smell you, then you've gone, because vision isn't their primary sense. So please go and look up object permanence in dogs. There's some very funny videos. There's some very funny videos of people doing object permanence experiments with their dogs. Go and look it up. Thank you. Not all dogs bark, yeah. Of course she injured herself. She fell down a 10-foot bank onto rocks. So, yeah, please go and watch my videos from the last few days. I went there on Monday. I did a live from there. I did another live when I got home, showed footage. If you don't want to sit through live streams, then I did half an hour. It's less than half an hour of an edited version of the footage where I talk through it all. So please do go and watch that. And also that's on Michelle After Dark. And then please go and watch The Tragic Case of Roger Jones if you don't think that, you know, you don't really understand how rivers work, and you think that experts were right that it's impossible that a body can be washed away in a river. So there's that. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to play us out with this, I think, just once more. So goodbye. Thank you to everyone who's kept the chat respectful. And thank you to the mods, as always. Thank you for the donations. And my internet's about to go. I'm on low internet. So I'll see you guys. I'm going to play us out with this video.